First and foremost, congratulations on this opportunity. I know it's a whirlwind when things move quickly, but once you found out that Coach Mitchell was moving on, how soon did you start thinking, okay, this is a place that I might want to be a head coach?
Yeah, absolutely, Jamal. Well, first of all, thank you for this awesome opportunity. But yeah, just a testament to who Coach Mitchell is. When he was presented with the opportunity, he communicated that all the way through. So there was an opportunity for us as a staff, as the announcement was made, to get together and say, what is the best thing for Grand Valley State football? And it was some awesome conversations in that room that led us to believe that, yeah, this is the best fit for Grand Valley State, and this is the internal candidate that we're going to move forward. So, yeah, wholeheartedly, full throttle down is the only way I do it, right? That we're going to go take advantage of this opportunity because that's what we do. So, yes, sir.
Some coaches are comfortable being position coaches. Others have aspirations of being coordinators or head coaches. Was being a head coach in your future, or were you not even thinking about that before this opportunity?
So I was at Wayne State previous to this, and that's my alma mater, and got a lot of history there and a lot of great relationships with people there. And there was a time there that maybe that was my dream job, to be the head football coach when Paul Winters decided to retire, and kind of had a plan mapped out to that. And then anytime you make a plan, God kind of laughs, right? And then head on over to Grand Valley State, and I was just focused on being the best offensive line tight end coach in the country, the best run game coordinator in the country. So, yeah, kind of put that on the back burner, but it was always a goal, a dream, something that I wanted to do. And I think it's just inside of me. I talked a little bit about my dad and being a leader of men, the culture piece of it, and all those things that the opportunity to not just lead a football program, but to take care of a staff and take care of all the people that are involved in this, our alum, the administration, everybody else that surrounds it. That's intriguing to me, and I love that challenge. So, yeah, it's a dream deferred maybe a little bit, Jamal.
It's a good way of putting it. And you mentioned being vulnerable, being blunt, being honest up there, how much you hated GVSU, because you went to Wayne State, you coached at Wayne State, GVSU was the enemy. How does that give you a different perspective in the, how the program's viewed in the GLIAC and how great this place is and can be?
No question. I mean, every single team that comes down that ramp on Lover Stadium is going to give us their best because of what we do have, what you see from the outside, right? So there's that big old target just because of the facilities and the location and everything, the degree, everything that Grand Valley State has. So I think bringing that perspective in, it's one thing for a coach here to say that, but I live that. Right? I live that. So just making sure that our guys understand that every single Saturday is the season, and every single Saturday you're going to get their best. They're not going to be sleepwalking into Lover Stadium or to any stadium that we go into, Jamal. So I think that's a little different perspective there, that's for sure.
And it's a rich history that people here understand, opponents understand it, how tough it is to play here. But when we start talking about some names and put some historical perspective into what the company you just accomplished, there's Brian Kelly, there's Chuck Martin, there's Matt Mitchell, and now there's you, 4 men who are already in the program. Sure. GVSU hires within, they take care of their own. How important is it to you to continue that tradition of taking care of the coaches at GVSU and wanting to build on the legacy that those 3 men have built?
Yeah, Jamal, that is everything, right? And I talk about it in recruiting now that at Grand Valley State. We talk about it with our players, and I internalize that. It's everything. You come to Grand Valley State to be the best. Come to Grand Valley State to work with Coach Matt Mitch, right? The funny story is, right when I got out of college and I was, full speed ahead coaching, my dad told me this: to be the best, you got to go learn from the best. And Grand Valley State was the best at that time. And it was a hard pill to swallow, just finishing up at Wayne State. But that was Coach Kelly, and their offensive line coach at the time was Jeff Quinn. So I sat right down in that building, right, and got mentored by Jeff Quinn. So know full well what that responsibility is, right, what the expectations are. And that's exactly why I came here, is because kind of born and bred to do that, right? And that's my dad, my gramps, all the people that have directed me towards this path. God called us because this is it, one of one, the best, right? So yeah, the responsibility, the expectations, like, pressure's a privilege, man. Like, love being part of that.
And you mentioned that, shouted out a couple of dates that I know, GVSU fans are very familiar with, especially with pressure being a privilege. There's certain rivalry games that are important. There's playoff runs that are very important here. when you mention pressure being a privilege, this isn't a university where they expect you to win 8, 9 games and say, hey, job well done. They want national championships, not just GLIAC titles. The goal is to make that push in the playoffs where GVSU has fallen short the past few years. But you seem to not shy away from that challenge of saying the expectation is still to beat our rivals, win the GLIAC, and make a run for a national championship. Is that right?
Absolutely. And, you know, you look at, we're going to go open out in Golden, Colorado versus the number 2 team in the country, the runner-up in the state, you know, so state or the national championship. So, yeah, like it's there, right? And then we're going to play Pueblo and then obviously the GLIAC. So, yeah, I'm not scared of that. I'm not going to shy away from it. And the reason I'm going to talk about that is because this morning we had every single one of our guys in that OD weight room with tremendous amount of focus, energy, working the process, embracing the process. So to me, like, to put that vision out there and create that reality and that belief, as long as you're doing the work, yeah, I'm not scared of that at all, right? And I think that's the vision, the belief, the reality that we're going to create here is, you know, we're going to do the work and go through hard things, right? But it's for this, right? It's for this, to be 101.
You mentioned your staff. You shouted them out. You're going to retain as many guys. Has there been some turnover there? What's the staff looking like?
Anytime you have success, just like with Coach Mitchell in this situation, anytime you have the amount and the level of success we had, there's going to be professional opportunities, right? Because it is the best coaching staff in the country. And they are awesome teachers and awesome men and awesome football coaches. So, yeah, other programs are going to come in and talk to those guys. But I believe that we've got a core, obviously the 2 coordinators and Coach Post and Coach Olson, Coach Roundtree, that would echo all the same things I just said up there in that press conference. In terms of the relationships with the men in this room that were sitting in those chairs, the special people and the special place that Grand Valley State is like, yeah, let's continue on this path and trajectory and then just go find what it takes to get to the next step to be 101.
Man, I got just 2 more for you. You know, you're a very emotional guy. And you got up there and you spoke about being a girl dad, and I know how emotional that moment was for you. How important is it to have your family who has sacrificed so much with you being a coach? You know, what does this moment mean for the entire family?
It's everything. And especially at a place like Grand Valley State that pours so much into women's athletics. And you know, talking about our soccer programs, and I don't want to miss any of them, but just the elite nature of the track and field and lacrosse, everybody across the board. So for me, yes, having them here, and there's no better way to raise a kid than around a football program. And she can see men go to work and she can see guys go to work, but now she can see what it takes to be a female in sport, right? And to achieve at a high level and to be you know, you'll throw like a girl and run like a, you know, but she can go see that. You know, we're watching the GLIAC championship soccer game, you know, standing right beside me, and she's just watching those, you know, watching our student athletes go back and forth and dominate and win that game. And there's no better way to grow up as a dad, like that I can raise my daughter to see that and be part of that, right? And to see these young men, these 17, 23-year-olds, and you talk about everything that's negative about football and everything that's negative about football players. And she's in that locker room after games and she's in the meeting room and she's around it, that she says, no, wait a minute. These are awesome dudes, right? These are great guys. So as a dad, there's no better way for me to raise my daughter than here at Grand Valley State.
That's amazing. You know, and that type of connectivity, that type of emotion, that type of passion leads me to my next question. As a passionate individual, the one thing everyone says about you, man, he gets everyone fired up. You know, you had the AD ready to put the pads on today. You kind of have a way of moving people. You're a very energetic presence. You're a very vocal presence. How is that passion, that energy, that fire going to transition to this new role as the head coach of this program?
You know, and like the motivation piece, and we talk about motivation, but we talk about it in terms of intrinsic motivation. And actually that was, I did my master's in kinesiology with a concentration in sport and exercise psychology. And most of my work was done in intrinsic motivation. So yeah, there's some things in terms of impact and passion that can inspire in the moment. But most of my work in this role is to aspire to serve these guys, right? So the passion, the energy, everything that you saw today and that you're going to continue to see, that's to wake up and before the alarm clock goes off, right? Because you wake up and ready to rock and ready to do this, to grow and build these guys, to serve these guys. So yeah, it outwardly projects as that, right? But the day-to-day, the relationships, coaching and teaching these guys, and every single way, coaching and developing this staff, that's where that's going to be manifested. That's where that energy and the emotion and the passion, right, for a long period of time. A pregame locker room speech, yeah, like we'll get the juices flowing and we'll have some fun with that, right? But that's not what's going to make us 101, and that's not what Grand Valley State football is, right?
True.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Like I say, it's a great day to be a Laker.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, great day to be a Laker, baby.
Also,
Thank you, Jamal.
No problem.